Sorry, it's crazy.
That's all right.
Okay. There, can you see me all right?
I can. So this is a project for Hannibal LaGrange University for one of my courses, and so basically we're just supposed to interview some people in the community and kind of get some more information about like transition processing and kind of what students in our school district would have access to.
Okay.
So first I have to ask for your consent to post this as a YouTube video to share with my class. Is that okay with you?
Oh, I'm going to be recorded?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
If that's okay with you. If
That's
not,
fine. Yes.
Okay.
You have my consent.
Okay. And then if you'll state your name and your position so they kind of know like where you're at.
Okay, so I'm the Director of Employment Services at Pike County Agency for Developmental Disabilities, and that's in Bowling Green, Missouri.
All right. So I guess basically just kind of give us like a rundown of what do you do every day. I know every day is different because, you know, you have different clients that you serve every day, but just kind of in essence, what does your day look like?
Okay, so let me just kind of back you up a little bit and kind of explain what we do a little bit. I serve individuals in our county who have a developmental disability. So that could range anywhere from students to adults to maybe even pre-vocational. So rundown of my day, that's funny. It's different every day. My title is to supervise services. Now, since we live in such a small county, I do a lot of the transition, a lot of the intake meetings, a lot of job development. Mm-hmm. So my day-to-day consists of ensuring that my clients are at work, that they have support staff, that my support staff know what they're doing. I could be doing monthly meetings, intake meetings. That's just a little bit of it. I mean, we do a lot of things, answering a lot of emails, phone calls, issues, sometimes even in employment, there's crisis issues. So getting those individuals connected to support coordinators or help that they need in the community.
Okay. So when you go to the intake meetings, how do your individuals get referred to you? Like, what does that process look like for you guys?
So we also do waiver services with the state and vocational rehabilitation. So depending on what service they're in is kind of how they get referred to us. So usually it's by a case management. Case managers usually refer us. The clients, especially with waiver, with voc rehab, case managers usually are going to set that up with a VR counselor, and then the VR counselor contacts me for an intake meeting. Okay. They kind of make sure that they qualify for services before we have that meeting.
Okay. And then once you make kind of all those connections and kind of figure out what they're needing, then how do you decide where they go from there? Like, how do you decide where they're going to work and things like that?
So it is kind of a long process. Depending on, everything is personalized, depending on the individual, their past work experience. So, for example, if I have someone who's never worked before and has no idea what their skills, abilities, or what they want to do, then I would recommend them go through like a discovery and exploration process. And that gives them a chance and me a chance to kind of find out what they want to do before we start looking for a job, because we never want to place someone into a job that may not be a good fit. We want them to be successful, and the best way is for them to have some type of job interest. So that's one side of it. If I have someone, like example, I just have a case that was transferred from another county. This person's worked for 10 years. They know what they want to do, so we will go right into looking for a job. Okay. So I think I got a little off on your question there. So how do I find the right fit and right job for them? Yes, it's based off of interest. Because we live in a small county, I do have a lot of connections. Or I work with the client's connections. That's the best way to find a job is through someone you know and through your network. So we'll do a couple random things of we might try to find some ins with their network or my network, or we might just do some random, let's just go drive around and get applications and practice those.
Okay.
But majority of jobs are by some type of connection.
Okay. So all of the people that you serve, do they all work within our county, or is there anyone that works outside of our county with another like agency or business?
So all of my, I have a contract with our county. Now there has been some overlap where we might go into, let's say, Audrain County, where they don't have a lot of services, or their services might be too far away. Then we would kind of agree that this would be okay. An example is we have a summer program. I had a student who was from Audrain County, but she really wanted to one of our job sites. So since she lived and had the transportation, we agreed to let her come into the county and work with us as a provider. Some of those borderline counties are what we talk about.
So I know, like at Ruth Jensen, they have several individuals that work within the community for businesses. So how do you guys kind of like do that? Do they just fill out an application like everyone else, or do you guys kind of talk with the business owners and see, who's open to having someone? Because not everyone is open to that.
No, not everyone is open. Our experience, though, it has been growing. We're getting more outreach from the community. An example, True has contacted me to see if we had people to work for them. A couple of other businesses are starting to contact us. I think it's more of a relationship built. Now, they should be filling out applications. They should be doing the hiring process like anyone else would, any other potential employee should. So we try to do the whole process the same. There might be a conversation we would have before or after, depending on the individual. Some of them don't want me to give out their information, that they have, disclose their information. Some are okay with disclosing their disability. So, then again, it's all a personal decision based on that person. Some, in my experience, it's kind of a 50-50. If I know this employer is pretty open, then we might disclose early. If I know this employer is probably not okay, or maybe doesn't have an understanding of different types of disabilities, we might just do the hiring process like they don't even know, because that is part of, the ADA. That's one of the questions they cannot ask.
So is there like a minimum age or a maximum age of anyone that you can serve? Is there specific requirements for them to be able to come to you?
So with vocational rehabilitation, there is a requirement. They have to be in their senior year of school.
Okay.
So it's not really an age, it's more of where they're at in education. So I have had younger students, but they were more typically closer to that end of their junior year. In the summertime, like I said, we do a summer program. There's no minimum age. They just have to be a junior going into their senior year. With waiver, I believe it's just they have to be able to they have to be of working age.
So then you've said a little bit about your summer program. What does that kind of look like for you guys? I know not a ton of people really know what that is. They just kind of see them coming and going.
Okay, summer program is a big deal for us. Like I said, it's with voc rehab all across the state of Missouri. We do that during the summer. We take on So for me, it would be students from our area schools. So we have 3 schools in our area. Our voc rehab counselor has already met with the students, and then we have a Mizzou specialist who comes in with the schools, and they've kind of talked with them about employment. So then I get those names. We do kind of an intake. We talk about working for summer, and then I place them into a business we've already proposed to. So So, like, for example, by January of this year, I need to have my summer work sites.
Okay.
Now, these may not be their interests, but it gives them 6 weeks of kind of a taste of what work is, and they do get paid for that for 6 weeks. So it's nice to see our students come in for the summer who've never worked or never had wages, and then by the end of the program, their expectations and their outlook's completely different. And then we also learn some things about them. So hopefully my summer kids from this year, I'll have them towards the end of spring next year, and we kind of already know who they are. So that works out well for both of us.
I think another question I have is, so when you start trying to find jobs for them and you kind of find they're not their interest, what do you do from there? What do you do if, like, you've tried several and it's not really fitting for them? Because I know we're a small community, so eventually we start to run out of choices.
So your question is, we've done some things with discovery and exploration, and we still can't find their interest, right? Mm-hmm. Hopefully by that point, if we've tried, so I'm sorry, it's hard to explain. Okay. So in my D&E process, I like to try a minimum no less than 6 places. And then some of them might be their suggestions, and some will be something they've never even thought of. Mm-hmm. And some might be a work site that they said, no, I don't like this, just to see why they don't like it. But we do have quite a bit of options for them to try. Like food service, there's tons of places that would let us come. Healthcare, we've got a lot of places we can go and try that. Animal care seems to be a high one, but it's never really what they expect. Daycare facilities. So if we get to the point where they're not sure, or they're telling me they don't like it, then we're going to have another meeting with the VR counselor and their team to try to figure out, maybe there's ideas I haven't thought of, or their family might have a suggestion, or maybe this person just isn't ready for work and they're just telling me they're not liking it because they're not quite ready for that step. But we also do research online. We do a lot of informational interviews, not just trying the job, but we might go and talk about the job. We might do some video assessments or some online assessments as well. If I find someone who maybe has a job interest that we can't support, then I look at it like, is that a realistic expectation? So this person wants to be a wrestler. Well, we don't have wrestling in our area. And then I'll explain why we don't and how they can obtain that. Okay. So based on that, maybe they make a suggestion of, maybe I really don't want to do that. But if I have someone who wants to work in culinary, then maybe they need to go off to do some training. And I would suggest maybe if you could get the transportation, maybe the school would be interesting to you. Not necessarily finding employment, but maybe a pathway to that employment.
Okay. And then for those of them, like, it's kind of just, I tried it, work wasn't really for me. What do you do for them from there? Because I know that's kind of what you do. So are there other services available for them afterwards?
Yes. So if an individual, I guess my question is, they don't ever want to work, or they're just not ready?
They're just not ready.
So then I would probably suggest doing some volunteering, mm-hmm. or maybe even an apprenticeship. There's a lot of places in every community that would have some type of volunteer program that maybe they can do some work and gain some of those skills to learn. It might be socialization or time management. And then hopefully after a process, then maybe they can come back through, because they would be eligible to come back through as long as the provider would be willing. We also have the Pike. We do have sheltered workshops. I don't typically like to place people there because it's sub-minimum wage, and we are trying to become employment first state. So sometimes that's a good option to stay there for a little while, and then we can look at their we can talk about, are you showing up to work on time? Are you doing your tasks? Are you ready for competitive employment yet?